What's going on, YouTube world? Today's video is a what sold video for my Goodwill finds over the last month. How much profit did I make? Let's get into the video and find out. My name is Jason, aka Mr. Llama, the not so better half of The Lazy Llamas, which is the eBay store that I run with my wife, Mrs. Llama. My wife and I, we own a gym. We've owned the gym for almost 9 years, and we started reselling on eBay part-time 3 years ago. I've done 2 previous what sold videos over my Goodwill finds from the last month, and today we're going to be covering 12 more items that have sold from my Goodwill finds. We're going to go over the profit I made from each item. We're going to go over my total net profit from the sales of all the items. We're going to go over the return on investment I made from these items, basically the percentage I got from the money I invested on the items. And finally, we're going to cover my profit time ratio, which if you've watched my videos, you know that that is what I believe is the most important metric as to whether or not you're a successful eBay reseller.
It's really important.
It's basically your dollar amount per hour. And at the end of the video, we're going to do an entire overlook of the month. All of my Goodwill find sales, the entire net profit, the total ROI, and my profit time ratio for the entire month. Let's get into these sales. The first sale is actually 2 of the same item. I actually feature these in a Goodwill finds videos. These are Cuisinart replacement coffee carafes. I picked them up for $3 each, so I invested $6 into both carafes. I did them as one listing with a quantity of 2, so I'm actually just going to treat them as one sale. I listed them for $24.88 each with free shipping. One of them sold at full price of $24.88. The other one, I accepted an offer of $22.50. So when you put them together and take out fees and shipping, I made a total net sale on these items of $26.50. You take out my $6 investment that I made into the items, I'm left with a net profit on these sales of $20.50. The next sale we're going to go over is a pair of Brooks Ghost 12 women's running shoes. I picked them up for $5. They sold for full asking price of $24.88. When you take out fees and shipping, because I did list these for free shipping, so you have to take shipping out of the sale. When you take everything out, I'm left with a net sale of $15. When you take out my $5 investment I made into the shoes, I'm left with a net profit on this sale of $10.
$10? Hey, for $10, I'll take the week off, man.
The next sale we're going to go over is another pair of Brooks women's running shoes. Women's athletic shoes are, I believe the last time I checked, the second most trending category to sell on eBay. Only second to video game consoles, which is actually my main focus.
It's important to remain focused.
But women's athletic shoes sell really well, and I believe that's the case probably because you find women's athletic shoes usually in better condition than you find men's athletic shoes. Men tend to wear theirs out a little bit more, maybe wear them a little bit longer, and the soles and the treads get worn out and get more damage to the shoes in general, whereas the women's athletic shoes, I find those more in abundance and much better condition. So that's probably the reason why they're ahead of men's athletic shoes as a category on eBay. But I'm just speculating. I don't know that's true. That's just been my experience, that I usually find women's shoes in better condition than men's. But Brooks in general as a brand are great to look out for, either men's or women's. They're really good sellers on eBay. This pair of Brooks is a pair of Adrenaline GTS 15. I had them listed at $29.88 plus shipping, and I accepted an offer at $25. So we don't have to take shipping out of the equation because the buyer actually paid for shipping on these shoes. So once you take fees out of the equation, you're left with $21.75. I paid $6 for these shoes, so I'm left with a net profit after taking out my cost of good of $15.75. The next sale we're going to go over is an Oster replacement blade for hair clippers.
Presto, you're bald.
I found a pack of 3 of these at a Goodwill. I actually featured these in a Goodwill finds video. There was a pack of 3. I got the entire set for $8. 2 of them have already sold, one for $25, the other one sold for $30. This was the last one left. It had been sitting for a little while. I got an offer of $18. so I accepted. After taking out fees and shipping, I'm left with a net sale on this item of $12. Take out my investment of right at $2.50, we'll say for this one, and we're left with a net profit of $9.50. Now, the next sale we're going to go over is a pair of New Balance 574 Eclipse shoes. I really like these shoes. I liked them the second I saw them. I think they're really sharp.
Dude, the 1930s called and they want their lingo back.
I paid $6 for the shoes, and they sold for a full price of $29.88 with free shipping. Once you take out fees and shipping cost, I'm left with a net sale on these shoes of $18. And you take out my $6 cost of good, my investment into the product, I'm left with a net profit on this sale of $12. Now, the next sale we're going to go over is a pair of New Balance 581 leather high tops. I featured these in a Goodwill Finds video, and I featured them because I thought they were really cool. I had never seen New Balances like this before. I've only sold and seen New Balances that were like running or walking shoes. These were high top basketball shoes.
All right, you just come on out here and act like you can play some D.
Like, I had never seen, I didn't even know New Balance made shoes like this, because I am not going to hide it. I am not a shoe expert. I know some brands to look for, and I've done well selling shoes on eBay. Not a shoe expert. But the second I saw these, I had a good feeling about them. I looked up comps on them, and I figured I could get $40 to $50 for them. I listed them at $49.88 plus shipping, and I accepted an offer of $40. So, of course, we don't have to take shipping out of the equation because the buyer paid for shipping. So after you take my fees out, I'm left with a net sale of $35. You take out the $8 investment that I made in the shoes. I paid $8 for them. I'm left with a net profit on these shoes of $27. The next sale is another item I featured in a Goodwill Finds video. It is a Mario Kart Wii game. I actually found this in one of the bins they put out. They were just bringing out new inventory. Hadn't found much at this Goodwill, but they brought the yellow bins out. They were putting out new inventory, and they weren't stocking the shelves. They were just sitting there. So I just went through them myself, and I found this game, as well as a couple of other things that I ended up picking up. I paid $5 for it. I listed it for $27.88 with free shipping. It sold within a couple of days for full price. After you take out fees and shipping costs, I was left with a net sale of $21. Take out my cost of good, my investment into the product, I'm left with a net profit of $16. The next item is another pair of shoes, another good brand to look for. These are Asics. These were called Onyxuka Tiger Ultimate 81. Never seen these before, didn't know anything about them. They looked different, so I looked them up. Thought I was going to make a little bit more money on them than I did.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I originally listed them at $30. They sat for a couple of weeks, so I reduced the price to $19.88 plus shipping. They sold pretty quickly after I reduced the price. Just wanted to move them, keep inventory moving. It's very important. So I did reduce the price to $19.88 after a couple of weeks plus shipping. They sold pretty quickly. At full price, after you take out my fees, I'm left with a net sale of $17.50. I paid $5 for these shoes, so I made a net profit of $12.50. Okay, the next sale we're going to go over is a Keurig K40 coffee machine. And again, I was a little disappointed with how much profit I made on this one.
You want some cheese with that one?
Used to, a couple of years ago when I was really into sourcing at Goodwills, you could get these for $5 to $7 all the time and sell them for $30 to $40. So I used to sell these a lot. But you do have to put a little extra time into them. They are something that has to be tested, and usually you have to clean them pretty good when they're used. So there is a little more time and effort. But when I was able to get them for $5 to $7 and flip them for $30 to $40, it was worth a little bit of the extra effort. This one I picked up for $10, which was actually pretty decent because since I've been going back to Goodwills over the last month, I've seen these at Goodwills, and they're usually asking $20 to $25 for them. So there's really no money to be made in Keurigs anymore. I mean, if you can find one at a yard sale for $5 or so, might be worth looking into. But if you see these models for $20, $25, they're not worth getting. So I got this one for $10. I originally listed it for $29.88 plus shipping, hoping to get $30 out of it. Plus shipping. Didn't happen. I accepted an offer after it had sat for a few weeks. Accepted an offer at $25. After fees, left me with a net sale of $21.75. Take out the $10 I paid for it. I was only left with a profit of $11.75. Again, not happy with that. I was hoping to get more. I'm probably going to steer away from these larger Keurigs like this in the future. It doesn't seem like there's much money to be made in them anymore, but at least there was a profit on this. The next sale we're going to go over is a pair of shoes. These are Nike Kyrie Irving 2 low tops. This was a really good flip. I was excited about these the second I saw them. They had good comps on them. I listed it for $39.88 plus shipping. I paid $8 for them. They sold at full price, and after fees, I was left with a net sale of $34.50. Take out the $8 cost of good I invested into these shoes, and I made $26.50 net profit. And now we've come to the last item that sold from my Goodwill finds this month. These are On Cloud X running shoes. I've never sold On before, but I knew they were a higher quality running shoe. Looked up comps on them. Sold comps looked good. The shoes were in excellent condition. I listed them originally at $79.88. I listed these. These are the first shoes I listed with the eBay authenticity guarantee. And I don't know much about this program, but it seems like it's a pretty awesome program. It's basically, when a buyer buys your shoes, they're shipped to a authenticity center where they inspect the shoes and make sure they're authentic, and then they ship them from there to the buyer. If they get to the center and they deem that they're not authentic, then they ship them back to the seller and the buyer is refunded. I think it's awesome. It protects you. As long as you know that what you're selling is authentic, the buyer can't say that what they got is fake. So it protects you, and it makes sure that the buyer is getting what they paid for. I don't think there's any restrictions on this program. I don't think you have to be a seller for so long. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but with higher end shoes like these, or like maybe some higher end Air Jordans or something like that, this is definitely something that you might want to use. You can also use this with jewelry, trading cards. There are other categories that you can use the authenticity guarantee, and eBay pays for the shipping. So I didn't pay any shipping. It has to ship FedEx, which was an extra stop I had to make. But luckily for me, my post office and the FedEx and the UPS store are all within walking distance of each other, and they're all 3 minutes from the gym. So I lucked out with that.
Well, good for you.
But it does seem like a pretty cool program. Like I said, I don't know a ton about it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But I know a little, which is what I've shared with you, and it is probably something that I will use in the future. So anyway, back to the shoes. I listed them originally at $79.88 with the authenticity guarantee. They sat for a couple of weeks, had some watchers on there. I got an offer at $50, and I decided to take it. I probably could have waited and gotten more out of these shoes. I know they're high end. I know that there are comps that had sold between $70 and $90.
What are you, stupid?
But I only had $8 invested in them, and I like to keep inventory moving. And so when I got an offer at $50 and I was going to make a nice profit on it, I went ahead and accepted it and got them out the door and got a return on my investment. So after fees, I was left with a net sale of $43.50. After you take out my cost of good, the investment of $8 I made into the shoes, I was left with a net profit on these shoes of $35.50. Okay, and now it's time for our numbers breakdown.
Break it down.
For these items that we went over today, I made a net profit of $197. So almost $200 profit I made on these items. The investment I made into these items, the cost of goods, was $70. So I took that $70 and I turned it into $197 profit, which is an ROI, a return on investment, of 281%. I'm not going to go into depth onto how you calculate return on investment. I've done other videos on that. I'll do it really quickly. It's just you take the net profit, divide it by your cost of good, and multiply that by 100. And pretty much anything over 30%, 40 is a really good return on investment. But with Goodwill finds and yard sale finds, your ROI should be really high.
Really, really high? Okay.
Because you should be paying a very minimum amount of investment into these products, and you should be tripling, quadrupling your money if you're doing it right with Goodwills, thrift stores, and in yard sale trips. When you go to my profit time ratio, which is how much I made per hour on these items, and I've gone into detail, and I'll probably leave a link to that video as well as to how I calculate my profit time ratio. So on these items, I made $54 an hour.
That's good money.
I've stated in previous videos that anything over $30 an hour, I'm happy with. Usually on Goodwill trips, I usually am around that $40 to $45 an hour range. Again, because I'm making so much profit on these items. But overall, as far as my eBay business, as long as I'm over $30 an hour at the end of the month, when I total everything up and look at all the numbers, I'm okay with that. If I'm below that, I need to look at what I'm doing.
What am I doing wrong?
You got to make sure you're maximizing profit, you're maximizing ROI, and you make sure that you're using your time wisely and that you're scheduling out your day in a way that makes sense. So it takes a while to get into that kind of rhythm. There were a lot of times that I put a lot more work into things than I needed to when I first started selling, but you'll get down to how you need to structure your time the more you sell on eBay, and so the better your profit time ratio will look as you move ahead in your eBay business. So now a final look at the full month of my Goodwill sales. This is not my total profit from all of my sales. The majority of my stuff I sell is video game consoles and video games and video game accessories, which is why I don't just do what sold videos, a lot, because it would just be video game console. Hey, here, I sold a video game. I sold another video game. I sold a video game console.
Getting repetitive.
Seems like that would be boring. Let me know if you would like me to do just a full what sold in a day, even though 90 to 95% of it would just be a video game or a video game console. I could do that, but it seems like it might be boring. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, and I would do it. But that's the only reason I haven't done it, because there's just no variety to what I sell mostly on a daily basis. So again, net profit on just Goodwill finds this month was $740. Now, on those $740 profit I made on those items, I made a total investment in those items of $180. So that gives me a total ROI, return on investment, on the Goodwill sales of this month of 411%, and an overall profit time ratio of $67 an hour, which is really good. Now, in all honesty, I still have Goodwill finds from this month that have not sold, which total about $250 in total investment. Probably a little less, but I'm gonna go worst case scenario. If I totaled everything up, it would probably be closer to $200, but I'm just gonna say $250 in unsold inventory. I should have prepared better for this part, but I do want to be completely honest. I wasn't going to do this, but I want to be completely honest. I still have $250 of Goodwill finds that have not sold, and they will sell. I'll get around. There's still some really great finds in there that I will get listed and will get sold, but let's just take worst case scenario and they'll never sell. And so I'm going to add that into my overall cost of goods with the $740 profit that I've made. So if you add that in, so then you're looking at a total cost of goods of $430, which is what I spent the entire month on all the Goodwill finds, and I've made $740 profit already. So we'll take the $430 that I spent total, probably closer to $400, but we're going to say $430 I spent total on all of my Goodwill finds this month. Is still a return on investment of over 150%, probably around 170%, which is still a very good return on investment, even if nothing else sells, which it will. So really, if I'm looking at it, as I like to look at it, it's an ROI of 411%. But if you want to look at it, hey, you still got $250 invested that you haven't made any money back on. We'll look at it that way too, and it's still a return on investment of probably around 170%. I can't really do the profit time ratio because I haven't put any time into listing or shipping these items that haven't sold yet. So I can't really do that as far as my overall profit time ratio, but I can look at the ROI. And even if none of this sells, I'm still making 170% return on investment if I just go throw all this in the trash, which of course I'm not. But I'm going to still make a lot of money on the items that haven't sold yet. And we're going to end the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you can see how profitable Goodwill sourcing can be. I know a lot of people are down on eBay these days. I know my last 3 videos were pretty negative about eBay. But like I said, overall, I love selling on eBay. There is still a ton of money to be made. It has changed my life. from where we were 3 years ago to where we are now, and that is large part thanks to our success on eBay. And you can still make good money at Goodwills and thrift stores. I know some people are kind of down on that right now, but I'm doing it right now, real time. I'm making good profits on Goodwill finds, and you can too. Just do your research. Now, I am going to leave a couple of links to some videos. One goes a little bit more in depth on profit time ratio, and the other one goes a little bit more in depth into ROI. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can see future videos. And in case you don't know, God loves you, I love you, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
I'm a